Hi, my name is Julie Farlinger, and I am going over the second code review presentation. The first project that we will review is the ORM database project. We have two tables within the ORM, people and pets. To review the way that the structure of those tables, we will go ahead and look at the columns that have been assigned, the fields that have been assigned, the type, and whether those fields can be null or not, along with the primary key set up here. We'll also review the pets table, which is very similar, just a few less fields. To actually review the data that is in those tables. You can go into here and we will actually be seeing some of this data here in just a minute. In this project, we set up two classes. One was a person class and one was a pet class, along with the application or the view for each, for both people and pets. Here's the person class. The one thing that I did with this assignment is I started making a data object class for the login credentials or for the connection, but then just kind of went along with the way that the code was given in some of our templates, and I just kept the connection here. But if you were to use this data object class, you could set up your connection here and then just use code to connect to this data object class every time you needed to connect to the database. The first method is the save method, and in this method it looks to see if the ID has been, if the ID is in the database or in the table, and if it is not, it will insert into this people table, the one that we just reviewed. If the ID has already been entered, then it's going to update the database with the changes that are made. We used a prepared statement in this code to help with the security of the data that is being entered by the user. We also used a public static function, all, and I will show in a minute how that is used in this project. And what the all does is it just selects all from people, just like I did when we were down here in the terminal to review all of the data that was in that table. A public status function find is also used, which selects from people where the ID is, for whichever ID is being referenced. There is a pet class, and that is set up very similar to the person class. All of the same, the find, the all, and the save functions are all used in there as well. I'm going to go and open this up so we can view it. Here is the list of the instances in that database table, and this would reflect the all. And then here, if we add a person, this is then using the save function that or method that we just looked at. And that person gets added. We can then also go back and edit that person if we wanted to change their email address because it was entered wrong. And that also uses the save function. but it uses the update instead of the insert. And then if we go into the pet app, this is a list then of all of the pets that are in that table. We also connected that with the owner by using a person ID. Another thing we did is added a select box and connected the first and last name instead of having to connect it with the person ID. We put a name to that person ID so that it was a little bit more user friendly. And it's the same type of a thing if we entered I'm just going to make this you can enter in here, and Polly the parrot got added with Mickey Mouse as the owner. We can edit that and say that Polly is 88 instead of 99. And when we go back, that is also referenced there. Some of the other projects were in week 8. We worked on a common regular expression to format social security numbers, credit cards, and phone numbers. And that'll accept only certain formatting from that. And we then ran a test on that information to see if we had the right regular expressions in there. And I'll run that test, and you can see that it passed. Also in week 8, we created an application called Link Match. I think I have that right here. When a URL, I'll open that up in here, and when a URL is entered in here, it actually brings up a list of linked URLs for that domain that is provided. We also did another regular expression validation on these order form fields, and this, if we, as you can see, if you start entering in some funky formats here, and you try to send it, it'll pop up invalid error messages, and it will not send it to the database until you can get a format the way that it's supposed to be. And then it sends. We also in week 5 did a car simulator, and in this code we did a class with a collection of related variables and functions for a car. We also created an acceleration function which will continue as long as the speed is less than or equal to 100. Once it hits that 100, then we go into the brake function, and that will then go until the speed is equal to 0. And when we run this, I have this somewhere. Shows it's driving a red Volkswagen Beetle and starts at 10 miles an hour, which is the integer that we put in for that variable. And it goes increments by 10 all the way up to 100, and then slows down all the way to 0. That is my code review 2. Thank you.